I have seen so many great performers in my life, and they all look fearless on stage while performing. Me, on the other hand, not so much. Like, even though I've been performing and singing in front of people since I was 5 years old, every single time I would get in front of people, I would start to just get so incredibly nervous that it was just incredibly debilitating. I would forget about everything that I had practiced. I would just start to sweat and shake. My voice would quiver. And then I felt like, man, I just made the biggest fool of myself. I am never doing that again. But also at the same time, there was that inner voice of like, no, I'm better than this. I feel like this is something that I am supposed to do, but I'm just frozen by this fear. I'd received lots of well-meaning advice from people just saying like, imagine everybody in their underwear. That is terrifying. No! And my absolute favorite is, oh, don't be nervous.
I'm totally not nervous.
Your eyes doing the thing.
But if you suffer from stage fright, you are definitely not alone. I mean, just talk to anybody that is a performer, that is a public speaker, a professional, or even just casual. Yes, everybody gets nervous, and that is okay. In this video, I have 6 different things that I started to incorporate into my daily routine and my practice routines that really helps me prepare for performances where I finally feel free on stage. Some of this advice is conventional, and some of it is unconventional. So hopefully you take away something that will help set you free too. Let's get started.
Mick used to say, the only difference between the hero and the coward is the hero's willing to go for it, all right?
Now, I heard this advice from my good friend Carl, who recently passed away. He was a fabulous musician. Miss him dearly because he had the most amazing, contagious confidence that you would have ever encountered in your life. But it wasn't arrogance. It was a positive reinforcement kind of force that he had. And he encouraged me one Easter Sunday. I was so incredibly nervous and in my head. And he's like, you know what you gotta do? You just gotta attack it. You just gotta go for it. Because when we get scared, we get intimidated, and then we start playing small. Or we start singing small, and we get in our heads. I also heard this advice too from Bad Snacks. She's a music producer, a musician, really amazing. And she said this was that she would tell her students that if they felt like they were playing small and timid, just to play as if like sloppy and aggressively as they possibly could. She said that 90% of the time they played the best they had ever played because it was about getting rid of the inhibitions and removing that fear of mistakes and failure that allows you just to play and express. It works. I found myself getting a little nervous. Like the butterflies starting to like creep up into my tummy during a performance, and I decided like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna attack it. And I just went for it. I felt myself relax because I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to shy away from this. Instead of running away from it, I decided to run towards it. And that made all the difference. We all know the term practice, 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 and practice makes perfect. I feel like there's a lot of truth in those, but I changed the way that I practiced, and this made all the difference. Most people don't realize that they're overwhelming themselves in the practice room by taking on too much, too soon, or they're too ambitious and add unnecessary stress to themselves. That carries over into their performance, but it doesn't have to be that way. I did something that I call the chunking method, where I break things down into smaller portions, I practice those in isolation, and then I start building out. I recently had an hour set to memorize, and instead of trying to practice my entire hour set over and over again, I broke it down into small, manageable chunks. Once I had my set solidified, I practiced here. In my filming studio. I filmed myself performing as if I were performing in that space. Reviewing the footage helped me pick out any awkward moments, so I knew what I needed to work on or what I needed to cut. But also in the same breath of practicing, it is possible to overdo it and overwork things. My friend Cynthia Lynn has actually really helped me a lot with the performance aspect of my musical journey because she has a lot of experience with performing, and this one phrase just really helped me a lot that I kept saying in my mind was, don't overwork it, don't overdo it. Because it's possible to not want to move forward because it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But rehearsing all of those things really helped me just relax even more so when I was on stage.
Accent to aid the positive.
We've all heard that positive self-talk is incredibly important. As a man thinks, so he is. And for me, a mistake that I used to make when I was practicing is be like, oh, come on, you're better than this. How long have you been doing this? You call yourself a music teacher and you can't even do blank, 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 fill in the blank. And I realized I was self-sabotaging myself when I did that. If you're beating yourself up every time you mess up, and you speak to yourself in that way, like that negative, like, oh, you should be doing better than this, would you dare speak that way to somebody else? Hopefully the answer is no. And I would think, I wouldn't dare say that to somebody else. I would be encouraging. I would say, focus on your progress and not perfection. I would say we can't control the thoughts and the negativity or just the way that people think of us, but we can control what we allow into our minds. I have Philippians 4:8 hanging on my wall as a reminder. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. That negative thought comes through my head. Is it pure? Is it lovely? Is it admirable? Is it true? No, it has to go. Another positive thing that I tell myself is that I've done this before. I can do it again. Or maybe if something wasn't positive, I just think about, you know what? I know I can do better. I'm going to focus on doing a little better next time. The level of my performance is not a measure of my worth. And last, my favorite, Joshua 1:9, have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous, do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Then I take a deep breath, let it out, and I move on. Everyone has a role model, somebody that inspires them. You would think mine would be like a famous performer or musician, but no, I recently found my muse and it's this woman.
Taste the biscuit, taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Now, this made me laugh so hard when I saw it. I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, okay. I'm probably taking myself No, I'm not probably, I am taking myself too seriously here. Here's this woman singing about a biscuit, and she's having the time of her life. And here I am freaking out. That just really relaxed me, and just thinking about, you know what? If Biscuit Lady can do it, so can I. So I hope that helps you too. A story I think about is Idina Menzel, who's the voice of Elsa and Elphaba, and a Broadway icon. And she was criticized one time for a performance because it wasn't perfect, or it wasn't like the studio recording. And she said, you can't get it all right all the time, but you can try your best. And this is coming from a Broadway star that performs all the time. This reminds me that everyone has an off day, and if you do make a mistake, most of the audience members, they do not notice your blunders. If you act like nothing happened and you just keep going, or if a mistake happened, you're just like, whoop, shrug your shoulders and then move on. And most people will just say, wow, what a very human person up there. Focus on moving forward and moving on. Shift your focus from worrying about how you're being perceived to the message you're delivering. Concentrate on the value you're providing your audience. For me, my message is, you are loved. What you do and how well you do it is not a summation of your worth at all. And for me, I want to be able to communicate to people that they were created on purpose for a purpose. That if I just sang really well and the only thing people walked away with was, wow, that was a really nice singer, to me, I failed. The more I make this about myself and me, the more I get in my head, and now what I'm doing has completely lost all of its meaning. Your worth is not in what you do, and that's what I want to communicate to people. That I point people to Jesus. Now for you, it may be different, but focus on the message, the value that you are giving people within your message. Think about your why. What is the lasting impact that you want to leave with people? And focus on that. Ultimately, I figured out that my fear was directly linked to the things that I can't control, like people's opinions of me and outcomes of a performance. Freedom started once I started focusing on what I could control and letting go of the rest. Maybe it's because when I turned 40, I finally was too tired to care, but this is the freedom that Christ promised me. Those 6 small things have really changed me in a huge way. And since then, I've really been able to just step into my gifting so much more than I was able to do before. But not only that, now I'm able to turn around and encourage other people that are nervous, to let them know that I have been there before. And I still get some butterflies when I perform, but it's completely different. One person put it this way that said, it's okay to be nervous because it shows that you care. I hope those subtle mindset changes really do help you to set you free. All right, remember, you are loved. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings.